All right. Abibifahoodie, Abibitumi, Hotep, Alafia, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum. Race first, free the land, and all black laws for all black people. Good evening, brothers and sisters, first-time listeners, as well as first-time viewers on YouTube. Welcome to another edition of the Sonic and Ngoma on Student Knowledge Radio. We are happy and blessed to be with you once again. We're your hosts, Oláyínká, Khamuo, Heru, and Brother Farugh, Maat. We are a unified body of concerned people, visual artists, musicians, business owners, researchers, truth seekers, teachers, and healers. Our goal is to create dialogue surrounding music, culture, and politics as it relates to African people's sovereignty, autonomy, and economic empowerment. Here represented as the Urban Shamans Productions, the African Independence Day Organizing Committee, and Maat Incorporated. Before we jump into tonight's topic with our guest, we want to let you know that the part of the Sonic and Ngoma broadcast is brought to you by Urban Shamans Productions, the African Independence Day Organizing Committee, Maat Incorporated, Farugh Custodial Maintenance and Home Renewal Services, Temple of the Black Messiah, and of course, Student Knowledge Radio. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Brothers and sisters out there, thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Sonic and Ngoma with your host, of course, Brother Oláyínká, and my brother, comrade, and warrior brother, Farugh Maat. Peace. What's going on, brother? What's happening?
Man, life is magical, bro. Yeah, I mean, life is magical, man. And I just realized, I ain't just realized, but it just came to me. That's when you was asking me, like, how I'm doing. And, I have 5 children, right? And so, due to circumstances, I wasn't able to raise all my children in the same household. And I came home today, and it was just like having children in the house. It's like I'm getting a second chance to achieve that dream of mine, even though the children are not like biologically mine, but they still under my roof, and it's still my responsibility. And so I'm getting another chance to raise children underneath my household 365 days a year, as opposed to raising them just for the summer or every other weekend or whatever arrangements, you know what I mean? So there's a beauty on being a daily Baba as opposed to being a Baba 2 days out of the week. You know what I mean? Like, it just is. And I'm just really thanking the Mother, Father, Creator, and the honorable ancestors for this another opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I think about that too. I think about that a lot myself, just being a father. For me, I'm still new to it. With a 13-year-old and a 5.5-month-old now. It's a new process, and I'm learning things each and every day. It's work, man. It's work, but it's enjoyable work.
Yeah.
If you have a plan for your children.
Yeah.
And it really starts with you. You have to have a plan for yourself.
There you go.
And at the same time, you have to have a plan with it. Everybody's not in a situation where they're with a partner. They have a wife or a significant other, or a queen, or girlfriend, or whomever. I mean, everybody is not in that situation. So some of us are raising children single, as single parents. But if you have it, you all have to be right. And if you're not right, you have to make yourself right. And that doesn't happen in a day or a week or a month. It takes time. And y'all got to be right. And in order for your children to be right, you got to be right. And really take on the responsibility of being a father to your children every day. It's a non-stop job. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yes.
it's nonstop. It really isn't, and it really is a job where you can take off, But I'm learning that, and it's a process. But I'm at the same time, it's not easy. I'm enjoying being a father. I enjoy watching my son grow up. I both of them, both my sons grow up, and right before my very eyes, and really be, instrumental in their life. So I feel you on that. I think about that too sometimes. I do. And once again, you have 5.
Yeah.
So and of course, your children are from what, 5 months to
22.
what, 22? Yeah. So you stand the gambit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just made me throw about when you asked that question. I was just like, damn, it put me in the immediate state of gratitude, because it's just like because I was living, I had my children every other weekend, but then she moved in, we get together, she moved in, and I was living in this space to where it was like this whole just me. It was nice. It was nice, come home and whatever the case may be, but it didn't feel like a home.
Right.
And now it feels like a home. You know what I mean? I'm grateful for that, bro. Like, I'm so grateful for that.
It's a beautiful thing. Like, even with tonight's guest being Baba Hanif, Shabazz, Baba Hanif has really been a person who we talked about just being a father and a husband, and for him, he's a father and he's a husband, and like you said, you're going to go through your ebb and flows, your highs and your lows and everything, but it's really how you are able to manage things within your own self, and manage things and communicate with your wife or your significant other as far as the well-being and the future of your children. And it's important that we remember that we are the custodians for our children.
Yes.
We are the ones that are supposed to take care of their well-being. In the tradition I practice, which is the tradition of Ifa, Sheshe, we say that our children don't belong to us.
Right.
We house their body, but we don't house their mind, and we don't house their spirit.
Right.
That belongs to Olodumare. That belongs to Almighty God. So our children are on loan to us. But while they're on loan to us and given to us to take care of, to nurture, to develop, and everything like that, we have to be about the business of doing that on a daily basis. So they can grow up to be strong, healthy, productive, positive young men and women that bring good into the world, and not allow for that good that they bring in the world to be lost, which is the whole concept of what we teach in the Sheshe tradition or research tradition of Iwa. So it's important that we have a real major responsibility, because our children are on loan to us for a certain amount of time. You know what I mean? And we have to take that with a lot of responsibility and a lot of care. We're taking care of our children and being the custodians of our children,
and being that example.
Yeah.
They learn from what we do, not so much about what we say.
Right.
And that learning and growing is mutual.
Right.
I mean, I have grown so much. I'm so grateful for the lessons that my children brought to me, brought my awareness to. I mean, like, a lot of things I wasn't aware about myself.
Right.
And them being that mirror for me and showing me those things, either I'm going to grow or I'm going to stay stagnant. And I chose to grow. I mean, so it's an ever lasting, beautiful exchange between you and your children and your mate. I mean, it's a constant dance of evolution, constantly. And I'm just like grateful, bro. Like I'm definitely in a space of gratitude right now.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, it's amazing because like even when we broadcast our show each and every week that we bring to you all, the show, I have my son with me. My son's sitting right here with me. He makes noise, but he's 5 months old, but I rather have my son with me while I'm doing the show than knowing that he, is not being supervised, that he's not being watched over, that he's not being fed and taken care of and anything like that. And I got my son with me because, my wife has to, go to bed and at a certain time. So, but it's okay with me. You know what I mean? A lot of, there may be some brothers that are fathers that may not be able to deal with that. They're like, oh man, that's too much for me. I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to taking care of, my son or my daughter. You know what I mean? I need help. I need help. And I don't always, I don't scream that a lot. I don't, because, it's like, really, if you don't know something about the whole art of, or the science of raising children, then trust me, you're going to find out and get a crash course on your own. You're going to learn how to do it. So you're going to learn how to make a bottle. You're going to learn how to change, diapers. You're going to learn how to give your child a bath. You're going to learn how to dress your child properly, depending on the weather. You're going to learn these things. So, welcome to fatherhood, and that's the thing. But I love having my son with me. And it's a cool thing. So I don't try to put him off on his older brother. I can't put him off on my wife because she's got to go to bed. So I got to take, responsibility for my son. And it's a great thing, man. But that's what we as Africans do, man. We step up.
That's it.
We step up.
That's it.
We step up and we do what we got to do. And I'm just, I'm really proud of that, and I know you do the same thing. I mean, with your son, and our sons are a couple of days apart. And but I know you do the same thing with your boy. And your queen, she can't be there all the time to do everything. You know what I mean? So I like, look, give me the baby. You know what I mean? I'll manage. If I don't know what I'm doing, I'll manage somehow, some way. And that's what we as African men must do. We just can't, say, oh, I can't do it, and put the baby to the side, and I'll deal with him later, or I'll give him to his mother, or I'll give him to his brother or his sister. And no, as a father, you got to take all the responsibility of that child, and that's what I'm learning.
I mean, that's the true rites of passage. Like, we have rites of passage programs that we participate in. We have these things. We have manhood training, survival training, things like that. Things are great. Those great skills, survival skills. Those are great life skills to have. But the real rites of passage come with raising children.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so, like, every aspect of manhood is manifested or evolved in child rearing. It is. And like I said, the most things that I got from my children was like learning patience, learning tolerance, about unconditional love. And these things you cannot learn. You can. They are better received from a child.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can learn that being in a romantic relationship, whatever, but that's very rare that you can experience unconditional love, true unconditional love in a loving relationship.
Right.
But children are coming from that spiritual realm, so that every emotion, everything that they feeling is really pure.
Right.
It's coming from a pure place. It makes it a little bit more easier to accept when you know it's coming from a pure, beautiful space. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, fatherhood, man, it's like everything, bro. Like, I didn't know I was gonna have.
That's why for me,
it's gonna have that impact. Be so impactful. I know I wanted to be a father, but I didn't know what depths father.
Right.
I didn't know I was gonna get so much from it.
Right.
I thought
Right.
like me, the dad, I'm gonna be pouring into the child.
Right.
Dude, I got so much from being a father, man. Like I didn't expect that.
Right. I mean, that's why it amazes me, man. It's like, yo, like how brothers and sisters can't find it within themselves to raise their children. And so they have these children, and these children are like passed off on other people. And because they themselves, the mother and the father of the child, either one or both, may be like, yo, I can't do this. And I'm like, well, why did you even bother? I mean, in the moment, you know what I'm saying? And and really that's kind of hard because you're in the moment.
Yeah.
So you can have this child, you went and you conceived this child, and you labored, for 9 months and going into the 10th month to give birth to this human being, and you don't want to take any kind of responsibility for it. It amazes me because, for me at 49 years old, my son is my first child. And I waited this long for a number of different reasons, but I knew, and even waiting this long, that I knew that I was prepared. I knew I was ready. I knew I was mentally ready, spiritually ready, emotionally ready, even striving to, get myself in a better financial situation to take care of my child. But I knew I was ready. You know what I mean? I just knew I was ready and prepared for it. Like, I didn't know anything about it, but I knew I could welcome the challenge. But man, for brothers and sisters that walk away and abandon their children, and then your children grow up just, being raised by somebody else, or not even being raised by somebody else. I mean, shoot, the streets can raise them. I mean, it's amazing to me that, some of the things that adults do that have children that don't want to be responsible for them and don't want to be a mother, don't want to be a father. I mean, even to the point of, putting them in, plastic bags and putting them in the garbage. I mean, it's horrible, man. It's really, really horrible. It just makes no sense to me, bro.
Well, it makes sense when people are sick.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, when people are sick, because we are at different levels of sicknesses. I mean, like from slavery and Jim Crow and all these things, we're still carrying trauma,
right?
Intergenerational trauma. I mean, and so to deal with that and still be like in a society that's anti-African, anti-communal, anti-everything that we are naturally, it makes the symptoms even worse. You know what I'm saying? So I understand the madness when you understand the core of everything that we had suffered as a people. So with that, man, that's really deep. Yeah, I mean, that's really something, because like it's an African proverb where they say children are the richness of life. But in this society here, children are looked at as a liability. I mean, and so if you're looking at your child like, I don't have enough money to raise them, I don't have the means to take care of them, I don't have a house. You might be living in a 1-bedroom apartment, but if society is telling you they got to have their own bedroom, and you have to be making $40,000 a year to be able to take care of a child, if they telling you that their child has to go to school, if they tell you their child has to have medical, and the medical is costing you $200, $300 a month, so you're looking at all these stressors just to live daily. You're looking at your child differently. You're looking at your situation differently, especially if you're single. Now, you're looking at when you're looking coming from an African perspective, when everything's communal. This is the child of the village. You know what I'm saying? When you look at, you're not doing this by yourself. When you got your grandma, you got your uncle, you got your distant cousin, you got the village helping you raise that child. It's not. You don't feel alone. You don't feel alone. You don't have those pressures of making ends meet all the time. You have assistance all around you. If you need to go take a nap, you can do that. You ask, keep an eye on the baby while I take a nap. Or so it's like we were really out of sort being here, and that's why I'm really trying to focus on getting my family out of here, bro. Like, I'm done in an anti-African, anti-communal society.
Right.
I'm tired of dealing with capitalism. So. You know what I'm saying? There's a place for capitalism, but when it's white nationalist capitalism, it's different. It's just way different. You know what I mean? Because somebody always has to be a victim in a white capitalistic society. Somebody always got to be taken advantage of in a white capitalistic society. And so I really want to get back into bartering. I really want to get back into communal living. I want to really get back into our way of life, bro. And that's what I'm striving for right now. That's what I'm working towards.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel the same way. I only want to be around people that have that same vision, that same mindset, and that same mindset, and want to work towards that. Those are the only type of people that I'm trying to find myself associating with, that are moving in that direction. Things are bad and things are going to get worse. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen after this election. A lot of people are, speculating and putting out, probabilities of what may happen or what could happen if, Trump wins, Biden loses, or if, Biden, wins and Trump loses, and this, that, and the third. But society, all in all, is getting really, really bad. You know what I mean? And then, with this whole COVID pandemic thing, and, the numbers are now going up again. We're getting ready to go into the thralls of we're now in the fall, and now we're getting ready to go into the thralls of winter. And they're talking about the death toll as far as people with COVID is going to go up, tremendously throughout the winter, man. It's a lot, man. It's a lot living in this society. And I can't even say that we as African people are living in this society. We are barely holding on. We're surviving.
Yeah.
There's a difference between living and surviving. We're surviving in this society. We're not living in it. And it's crazy, man, because what other alternative do you have but to collectively get around people who share the same vision and have the same value system and are putting themselves in a position to, get themselves some land so that they can, establish a communal formation of their own, very much in the tradition of maroonage. You know what I'm saying? As maroons, you know what I mean, away and off, you know what I'm saying, in their own land, their own territory, and at the same time off the grid. It works, you know what I'm saying? It can work, and it has worked. But being inundated and around this European for as long as we have as Africans, association brings on assimilation, and we begin to assimilate his habits, his behaviors, his norms, his customs, and things of that nature. What was once his now is ours. You know what I'm saying? And so many of our people walk around here, you know what I'm saying, nothing but, you know, chocolate covered, candy coated Europeans, because they're European in the mind. And so they find value in America. You know, they want a piece of America. They want to belong to America. That's why you have people saying that, you know, as hard as we work, as much as we've devoted to this country, America doesn't love us. You know what I'm saying? We're waiting for America to love us back. And America, they have to realize, never had any intention of loving you. You came here as a permanent working underclass to this country, and that's how they see you now. You know, even with those who are millionaires and, you know, maybe a few even billionaires and everything, you're still a permanent working underclass in your society.
That's facts. Now, Elder said to me today, which I thought was very profound. He said, it's a man who is not capable of being as cold and as brutal as his enemy has prepared himself to lose everything. Think about that. That's manhood 101. They have shown to be as brutal, as savage as possible, but yet we still want to be loving and peaceful. That's an illness. That's a psychological illness. That's a psychological illness, and I'm so proud to say that I have rid that. I have rid that out of my system, bro. I can't sit here and say that I always felt that way. You know, or felt that strongly about it. This day of time, I agree with it 100%. Maybe like 10 years ago, I've probably been like, no, we gotta show them that we're better. We have to be we have to be the example. No, fuck that.
Right.
You come with that shit, you get in the back. You know what I mean? Like, it's just really that simple. And I'm in a position to do that now.
Right.
I mean, I got my license to carry.
Right.
Visa too. So I'm in a position to do that now. So I feel very good. I feel very great to have that mindset to where I could see the enemy and have no problem taking them the fuck out. None. It won't lose sleep over it.
Yeah.
I can't say that. Like 10 years ago, I can't say that. Like I would have some kind of remorse, or I would have some kind of, I mean, it's amazing how sick I was. It's amazing how sick I was, bro. And I'm just really in a state of gratitude right now that I'm no longer there. All right, something happened here. So yeah, I'm just sharing my personal story with the day. And like I said, I'm in a really state of gratitude right now. And the principles of manhood never stop. You never stop learning. They say the more you learn, the more you know. The more you know, you realize that you don't know. And that is so true. And I'm just really grateful for this platform. Knowledge Born Alive. I appreciate you, brother, for this platform. Brother Oba, I appreciate your assistance in me rediscovering my African self. Brother Khamuo, grateful to you, brother, for helping me realize my full potential. I want to thank my Empress, everybody. I'm just really in a state of gratitude right now, and hey, I'm keep the show going. So we're supposed to have a host, our guest today. He hasn't called in as of yet. So me continue, I guess, talk about manhood, since we was talking about that in the beginning. Manhood, like I learned manhood through trial and error. My biological father wasn't there. He was a local drug dealer. Great basketball player, neighborhood basketball player, and but he was a drug dealer. So my mom had me when I was 16, when she was 16. And so she really didn't know what it was to be a mother. Or she really didn't have the support system she needed to raise a child. And so, so I didn't have a role model. I didn't have a guidance on the principles of manhood and how to deal with women and how to take care of the house and what my responsibility is as a man, let alone an African man, Black man in this society that we're in. So, like I said, my mom was a single parent, and she had my sister. She had my sister when I was about 4, and but she still had to work. So me being a man in the house at the age of 4, I had to like take care of my sister. So by her going to work, I think by the time my sister was like 1, I literally was left in the house by myself with my sister. And it was only at night. It wasn't like all day or anything like that, but it was at night. And I had to make sure that everything, the house was in check and everything. Little did I know this was preparing me for my life as a father. So I learned to cook at an early age. I learned to care for someone outside of myself at an early age. I learned to put myself second and put my sister first because that was my responsibility. Damn, it's crazy how the universe just prepares you for a situation. Now that I'm kind of like reflecting on my life, damn, that's crazy. Because like I had opportunity to be the custodial parent for my 2 girls for a period of time, and thinking about how me caring for my sister at the age of 4, 5, 6, whatever the case may be. I don't think it was that young. Maybe like 5, 6, something like that. But caring for my sister at that age prepared me for dealing with my daughters in my early 30s. By myself, cooking and cleaning and handling responsibilities and doctors' trips and things like that. Yeah, and this is a prompt to y'all. Like, you normally would have Oba and Khamuo doing a show with me, but I don't know, the technology or whatever happened, and so I'm trying to hold on, Miko, to the chat. Yeah, so I'm gonna blank the screen. I'm gonna go to the chat, but I'm going to continue to reflect because I'm realizing stuff right now, during this moment of reflection that I didn't realize before. Okay. All right, so we need somebody to text into the show. Yeah, so fast forward to about like 12 or 13, my father, my stepfather, my mom got in another relationship with my stepfather, and he came into my life about like 12 or 13 years old, and he established what I learned, manhood principles. He had a very strong work ethic, but he was rarely at home because he worked all the time. So I understood work ethic is a really important part of manhood. So responsibility, accountability to family. He taught that to me. He shared that with me. He shared those are two main things he really shared with me, and the importance of owning a business. So he was an entrepreneur. He had several different businesses. And so that spirit, he put that spirit inside me. Like myself now, I have like 5 other businesses that I'm running based off the principles that he said in me. But even with those lessons, those principles he put inside me, still, okay. So even with those principles, they were still incomplete. Because I needed to learn how to deal with that was one part of manhood. That wasn't the totality of manhood. I thought it was. And so I didn't know how to deal with women. I didn't know how to basically the women aspect of it. That I learned through trial and error. That put me in a situation to where, again, I'm in a situation where being a part-time dad, which I absolutely don't like. I want to be there for them all the time. Having them for like the summer and then take them back to their mom's house is like the hardest thing for me. Because I'm figuring I'm supposed to be there at 365 as opposed to every other weekend. Dang, that's deep. That's deep. I need to put this in the book because like I'm jumping around right now because I have so many questions. A lot of questions comes up when you're reflecting like this, but a lot of answers comes too. Damn, that's really, really, really deep. Wow. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everybody who participate in this journey. I appreciate the Red Man Battle from the UNIA who got me to start loving myself. Prior to that, I didn't. I hate what I seen in the mirror based off things that my grandma said to me, based off the things. And she said those things out of love. It wasn't so much out of she was trying to protect me from being too dark and being too African. There we go. Peace, family.
Peace. How you doing, Lord?
Man, I'm wonderful, brother. How you?
Hey, life is good, brother. Life is good.
Yes, it is.
Oh wow. Okay, we're back. Okay, cool. All right. Oh man.
You go in on it, brother.
Yeah, I was trying to hold on, brother.
Yeah. We were trying to get you in here, and then I had to jump off to try to get you in here, Baba. But I'm glad that we're glad you're here. We're glad.
Yeah,
brother. But go ahead, Farugh. Continue. Finish your thought, brother.
Oh no, it's good. I was just sharing. Like, I had a moment of reflection, and I was just thinking about how everything was preparing me for this moment right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, even my mom being a single mom and me caring for my sister at the age 5 or 6, and everything has built up to this moment right now. And I'm just really have an attitude of gratitude. I'm in a really state of gratitude right now. And I was just shouting you out, shouting out Brother Khamuo, shouting out the community, because I would not be who I am right now if it wasn't for y'all support. And
Same here.
Brother Knowledge Born Allah, in this platform. I mean, so it was just deep. Like, so now I'm ready to go write a book because it's like, damn, I didn't even think about how all of this just correlates to where I am right now. Where I'm looking at my life, I'm like, damn, man, like my mom was a single parent. She left me home at night. I need to deal with my sister, but it's in the same token, I'm looking at it differently now. I'm looking at it as the blessing that it actually was, as opposed to me thinking that I was living a really bad, horrible childhood. You know what I'm saying? So this whole experience has changed even my past thinking. You know what I'm saying? Now I can only look at my past as this distorted, negative thing, and now I'm finding in this mindset. Now I'm finding the beauty of everything that happened to me from the beginning.
Well, you know, so, brother,
that was pretty dope.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that was just really dope to have that moment.
Yeah, again, like I was saying to you, I actually was walking and traveling with you because I've had similar experiences myself, you know, and what I've come to recognize in my years on this planet is that the blueprint for our success, starting first as males, since that's who's talking, men, okay, then females or women, and then families. Our blueprint was destroyed, brother. You know what I mean? So, you know, we did a lot by trial and error. Okay, and I should say mistake before I say error. And the beauty of it is that, you know, they say man plans and Allah plans, or the Most High plans, and the Most High is the best of planners. You know what I mean? So, you know, to be able to absorb that is to be able to first accept it, which is what you actually just did. That's where the realization comes from that, man, it wasn't that bad at all.
Yeah.
You know, but see, a lot of people don't get that opportunity nor have that revelation that takes place in their life, you know, and even if they do, they sometimes have a hard time seeing it because of all of the minutia that's floating around them at the same time. You know, so when you it's kind of like study. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to say that for our listening audience and our viewers out there, we're on with our host, with our guest tonight. With our guest, brother Baba Hanif Shabazz, who is a business owner, a father, an activist in his own right. Man, a brother of many different hats, wears many different hats, and he is the owner of the library in Philadelphia, West Philadelphia section, Overbrook section of the city. It's located at 63rd and what again, Baba?
It's 5939 Lansdowne Avenue.
5939. I don't know what. Yeah, 5939 Lansdowne Avenue in West Philadelphia. And usually, you know, I have your bio. We would really, you know, we would go ahead and read your bio and everything like that. But for the sake of time, introduce yourself to the listening audience, Baba. Give yourself and everything, and we can dialogue and talk about, you know, the community resource that you have established, the library, as well as you know, a lot of other initiatives and things that you're working on as well.
Well, you know, bio, you know, I'm I have to say that I'm a very quiet and private person at the same time, you know, being humble with it all. You know, I've been fortunate to do a lot in my life, which I'm not going to actually go into except during the course of the conversation. You know, and I do that for me because sometimes it can cloud even my sight, because to be able to remain humble is an important thing as well, because we're all fighting a good fight out here. So I just say that way. But what I've been developing a library in West Philly, a research library, 5939 Lansdowne, which we have maybe about 4,000 or 5,000 titles of books. We have all kinds of audio, visual materials, DVDs, CDs, files. And I'm still in the process of putting it together, similar to what you have in New York with Schomburg. The only difference is we're a 501c3, but at the same time, I'm not in the library quote unquote system. And the purpose and the name actually expresses the purpose. It's called the library, the Literary Cafe of the Black Experience. And our objective is to act as an archive of material. Our motto that I personally use for my primary businesses, which is Apex Educational System. That's actually the parent company. Is that there's a child born every day who has no knowledge of this information. And the child that is born not necessarily just doesn't mean a child, an infant coming into the world, but, an adult who is also childlike and coming into this overstanding. So, we have been putting that together, but due to, and y'all talked about it earlier, this pandemic, COVID, and people take it different ways. So I'm just going to leave that alone, and not unless we enter into some sort of discussion about it. But you have to shift, and I had to shift. We opened up last May, or at least we acquired the location last May. Excuse me. And I actually started to open the doors up in the winter to the spring. Right around January is when I really started to open up the doors and, host programming. And, we had the ASCAT meetings, and the Asala started to take part in some of the meetings with ASCAT. So they were two major groups that started to meet at our location. And then when everything happened, it was like, bam, lights out. Got to shut it down. You know what I mean? So right now I am revamping it. I am to a degree open. I'm not fully open as far as the library section, but I do try to give people access to materials that we have in the shop. We are we still have a retail area within our location. So, we order books, DVDs, CDs, if you need file material and we might have it, we make that available. And then we have a large selection of out of print books. And right now we're working to acquire rights, and, kind of like Khalid says, just have to sometimes be an information gangster and just reprint them. Right. Because these are materials that are, for the most part, not available, particularly in the public purview. And a lot of the materials that I'm talking about are materials that take us back to the early movements that are the foundational movements for what we see taking place right now, whether it's quote unquote back to Africa, or, taking it to the streets, or, militias, just a number of things. So you can kind of get an idea. Most of the colleges, universities, high school, middle schools, much less even elementary schools, don't have libraries anymore. Everybody's relying particularly now on Google and Wikipedia, and you don't even touch paper, a book. So, to have a library in your home first is definitely something that everyone should have. In this case, what I'm doing is now looking, as I said, I've been revamping it to the point where we're digitizing materials so that we can put online and you can have access, download. Also, we're taking and reprinting materials for homeschooling, of different sorts, just to read and research. We're making things available. So similar to, like I said, summer is what we're trying to work towards. We're not that big, but we do have a serious arsenal. And, Steve Coakley said back in the 90s, he said we should have libraries in every town, city, and hamlet in which Black people exist, but libraries that we own and control. And for the most part, that's a page that I'm taking out of what he spoke at that particular time. So that's kind of the nut in a nutshell for where I am right now in my journey, if anything you want to know from there, just let me know.
That's pretty dope. I just want to say, I have a comment. I didn't even realize how much I missed you, bro, until I heard your voice. It'll be like,
well, the love for all of us is there, brother, because they for the most part totally severed, similar to when you start talking about the transatlantic capturing and transportation of people, African people all over the world. They severed a cord, what I call the umbilical cord, the historical memory, umbilical cord. And that's actually what's happening right now. Our umbilical cord socially and historically, and we haven't even talked about the economic impact, but severed those particular ties. So yeah, we haven't seen each other, brother, and our children haven't seen, people, and I feel most for them because the socialization process is through group activities, and the children don't have group activities. Definitely not like they had 10 months ago, 12 months ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fact. I know that played a huge part for me. I'm a social. I am social, man, and this hurts my heart to not have these face-to-face conversations. Be able to look you in your eyes and just feel the energy.
Sure.
Energy while we talking. Are you planning like study groups or anything like that with the business?
Again, like I said, I was doing that at the first part of the year with ASCAT and Asala. Asala, that's the group that Carter G. Woodson actually founded. So we were doing study groups with them in the shop. We can do it because of the way I had to reconfigure my shop for where we are right now. I'm doing mostly production work. Okay. So my first, should I say, entry into the market is to start dealing with and pulling out a lot of materials, particularly books, if I can say that first and foremost, pamphlets, things that are what they call low-hanging fruits, and making them available to the community locally and the community at large, so shipping them around to, bookstores, things of that, like that, there's a litany of books that I can tell you that we'll have available, things, there's a 4-part series that came out some years ago. Gifts from the Nile, 100,000 horsemen, African horsemen, urban heritage. Brother in DC did it. There's Timbuktu. And then, early books by some of the people who are involved with Kwanzaa. Tag, his name is escaping me, but his son did the Brother Man comic books. They were good friends of mine. books that he had done dealing with um, uh, what is it, the Karamu Festival, Umoja Karamu Festival, and how it's done. To try to bring some of those things back and put them back on the table so that we can kind of, reconfigure, what it is that our lives are about, So that's actually what I'm doing now. So as far as virtual study groups, yes, I plan to do that. I've actually started talking with a professor up at named John Bracey up in University of Massachusetts. We're doing something soon because they're still working through the first semester up there, and he's the chair of the department on the relationships between Africans and quote unquote Indians. And the fact that, and this has nothing to do with a Moorish paradigm. So, it's part of the conversation that is had, but the relationship between Africans and Native Americans and our Africans or Native Americans. And technically, as Khalid says, Africa is our throne. The whole world is our home. So technically, we find a relationship as far as Native Americans, and I'm just using that as a term, so colloquialism, so forgive me, and Africans really are the same people. I had did a special problems class back when I was in college, and on this side, the in Africa, the leopard normally was a signal of importance. On this side, the jaguar is the symbol of importance, but the two animals look almost exactly alike. So you have an interrelationship based on travel, Africans traveling, around the world, or even in this case, Native American, quote unquote, Africans. And I'm going to use that as a context to present this as they traveled around the world, because believe me, once you get on any of those three jet streams in the oceans, they're going to take you someplace. You know what I mean? Willingly or unwillingly, you're going to go. So I'm sure they all saw similarities. There's something called the snake dance that you see in South or Central America. Okay. That is the same snake dance that you see in Senegal. So there's a lot of little idiosyncrasies like that you see. So I say all of that to say that we're planning to do a Zoom conference, a Zoom, whatever we want to call it, sometime in the next couple of months on just that interrelationship. Because personally, and this is me speaking, I think that we're having a lot of difficulty here on this continent, not because we aren't accepting Africa, but the fact that they know that some of us weren't brought in the holds of ships. So they have to keep us misnamed, and we accept the misnaming, and we misname ourselves, and based on that, and we can dialogue a little bit about it too, if you want to. We're led astray. We're manipulated based on, if we knew that and accepted the fact that a lot of us were here, and it has nothing to do with ADOS or nothing like that as well, then we have right to the land. We should be claiming land. You know what I mean? And
right.
If that becomes a part of the conversation, it's not claiming the land as a non-indigenous person. It's claiming the land as an indigenous person. So that whole thing with Sherman's March, 40 acres and a mule, special field order number 15, all of that is playing a part in this, you know. So, you know, I we're going to have a conversation, and he taught a lot of years on this in this classroom, and he's got a lot of information that he's been bringing to the forefront for us. So, I think that personally, for me, that is a point of contention and also a point of debarkation from our ability to not unify totally as a group of people, because I don't see the utopian movement like that, because we aren't how can I say, we might be of the same skin color, we might be, you know, a lot of things that are close to that, but we have different thoughts and actions because culturally we're different. No matter, even if you look at the continental African who was brought to America, you know, you have different groups and there are different, you know, patterns and culture that go with that. And we act out a lot of that unbeknownst to our own selves, where that's coming from. You know what I mean? So, you know, I tie that in with Gullah and Geechee culture, you know, because that is an aspect of this too. You know what I mean? Whether, you know, you're talking about coming from Angola, you're talking about coming from Sierra Leone, you know, I mean, this is a lot, you know what I mean? And when, again, like I said, we haven't even talked about the Levanta, which is the Olmecs, and how they come to play, and, you know, moving from possibly out of the whole idea of what Mansa Musa did, or you know, in the 2,000 ships that were sent across the water, you know, and then even what Dr. Robinson talked about when you start talking about Songhai.
Yes.
Okay, the Songhai Empire. You know, there's 2 books out besides Dr. Robinson. There's a storybook out that's called The Songhai People, and then there's a book that's called The Children of the Songhai People. You know what I mean? And they go pretty in depth as to what that learning area was. You know what I mean? So, so yeah, I plan to do some things going into the first of next year. I should really say it that way, because I will have been settled in what it is that I'm doing now. So, yes.
There was a question I wanted to ask you last week. Myself and Farugh hosted the show, and we had thoughts of our dear mother, Mama, who made transition. And back in March of this year. And it was very somber for myself and Brother Farugh, because how much she meant to us. Last weekend would have been the 16th annual, the 26th annual.
Yeah, I was going to say 26.
Last week.
Yes, sir.
Here she was to everyone. We know how near and dear she was to you. We haven't really had too much time to really correspond on our thoughts and feelings of her transitioning. But could you talk a little bit about the impact of this giant of a woman?
Yeah, brother, that was you know, I'm going to start here. I'm going to start here with that. You know, she was just releasing her newest book.
Yeah.
So I actually had been doing some work on some audio and visual work for her, and I was supposed to be delivering it a day or 2 before our transition. So when I got that word that morning that she had transitioned that night, that was the day that I was actually going to deliver it to her. So she was actually up on my computer screen, you know, and ironically, as I listened back after I got the word to what she was saying, it was almost prophetic in that fashion, you know. A lot of times, we tell that story before they actually even happens. So impact wise, brother, I mean, I'm personally, I still reel from it because I talk to Mama Akosua practically every few days, without even question. Not just only as far as business and work, but sharing ideals and just hey, she was very close to my family. She had just came to her and Baba Otu had just came to my son's uh, uh, birthday, actually via Zoom, but they had visited right before then for I can't even recall what the reason was because we live not far from each other. So personally, it's still a great impact. Um, I'll try to do this without breaking, okay? But yes, because she had great impact in my life. But the other thing, as far as a community person, I mean, brother, that was and we have to start first and recognize that when you get a ticket in, you got a ticket out. Ain't no question. And when it's time, and ain't nothing you can do about it, it's time. So she displayed no issues a few days before that when I talked to her. So again, it was a big shock when it happened, but ultimately she was a centerpiece for a lot of young people around the country, and I'm sure internationally as well. She was a go-to person for a lot of us, but particularly, and I'll be 63 next month, so I'm going to separate myself at this time. For a lot of persons like yourselves in your age group, a lot of those like you who are movers and shakers and becoming the movers and shakers. She interacted, and as a mother does, she helped to tutor you and to be a sounding board, for a lot of people that people see on YouTube and stuff like that. She was there. She was a conversation. I mean, because of her background as a psychologist, she did a lot of work. You know what I mean? So I say that there was a big hole in the pantheon that had to open up to absorb that energy. Similarly, like what's our sister in DC, Frances Welsing. I mean, these women were giants. And we still feel the vacuum that has been left in that wake. You know what I mean? And that's not to say that there hasn't been others that have left since then who've not also created a greater impact. I mean, this whole last period of the last 6 months has been kind of like a vacuum in which life and energy has been just sucked up and sucked out altogether. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I look and I review it and I say, well, it takes a lot of power to redirect what's going on. So, Most High called his best some of his best, and she was one of the best, at what she did, And as they say, energy is neither destroyed nor created. It always exists. So, I feel her energy, as she says, I'm moving and grooving, so yeah, it was a great sacrifice for us that was made when she was transitioned out. You know what I mean? But it's like any other star that explodes in the universe. It sheds more light as it displaces itself in the atmosphere of the universe. So that's kind of what I had to say about that, brother.
Man, that is well said, bro. That's well said. And yeah, I got choked up when we was talking about it last week. Because I like I said, like she was like our personal counselor.
Yeah, brother.
Everything that we have accomplished in a little bit of time that we have been putting the work in.
Yeah.
She was the brains behind it.
Yeah.
And
Well, she didn't have, if she wasn't the brain, she definitely had a mouthpiece for it.
Yeah, like I said, even when we like had some missteps, she showed that soft power.
Yeah,
She
probably.
didn't have to say anything. She just looked at you and was like, my bad.
Yeah.
And then she give you a solution. This is how you handle it next time.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah.
I love her. I appreciate her so much.
Yeah, I love her. You know, and the family's still reeling from it in a, you know, to a great degree, you know, and it's evident, you know, as to how they're moving, you know, and I take nothing from it. I've reached out on a number of occasions, but, you know, you have to respect their privacy, and you do, because she was to what she was to us, she was doubly that to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know that for a fact.
So I'm gonna say this. I have another obligation that I have to go to.
Yes, sir.
I'm part of this group called Daddy University, and his father's just coming out of prison. They don't want to reconnect with their children.
Can I share this with you, brother, real quick on that one? Because this is an important point that most men don't know. And I've had personal experience, and it came to like, you know, to call yourself daddy or father is one thing, but to be recognized in the court of law is something else. Okay. And what I learned is, and there's a sister, I'll get that information that you can plug into some of her vids on it.
Okay.
But the court looks at men from this this position, and that is that the woman is the mother because the child comes through the woman, but the man, because he has the right of refusal to say that I want a test, even though you signed on the dotted line that you are the father, you still have to go into court and let the court make that decision that you are the father of those children by signing certain affidavits, which was a mind blower to me, brother, because I'm like, well, I signed the birth certificate. They said, well, you could renege on the birth certificate. The mother can't renege because that's where the children came through. So you have to come in and see us. And that's an important point for brothers who are trying to connect with their children, to know that they have to go through that particular medium in order for it to be truly recognized in a court of law, more so than just say, well, I signed on the dotted line, the paternity tests and all of that. You know, it's a powerful piece, brother. It's a powerful piece.
I appreciate it. And I do need the information, because that's what the subject is about. As far as like going to court and things of that nature, we did not know that. So as soon as you can give me that information, I will share that with the group, the group, and we will put that into action, because these brothers, they really miss their children. They want to be back in their children's lives.
Yeah, brother.
And
Look. A man has no rights to the children. Okay, via the court.
Yes.
And the court's main job is to take charge of the property. And the property first, based on, you know, birth certificate and all that, are the children, because it's free labor. It's the labor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it behooves them to be more friendly to the female than the male.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I say this to any brother, you know, even if you married and in good standing with your wife, you better go and get that stuff taken care of. Because if it comes down to a question as to, you know, your custodial rights and her custodial rights, hers will always supersede yours.
Wow.
You know? Yeah, it's a major bombshell, bro.
Wow. Yeah,
and that's not by accident. That's designed.
Well, no, it's not by accident. You're right.
So, peace and Black Power family. I gotta go. But yeah, brother Hanif, as soon as you can get that information to me, brother, I appreciate it.
Give me 1 day, brother. Give me 1 day.
I appreciate it. I'm gonna send it right now. Like I say, we're having a group discussion based on it. You creating some strategies to where they can get back in their children's lives, kind of mend the relationship with their baby's mothers, and trying to get back on track, get them back on track.
Absolutely, brother. Because it's no greater gift.
Yep. So I love y'all, man. I'll be looking forward to it. Peace and
Yes,
Black
sir.
Power family.
Yes, sir. Stay strong, stay black, most of all, brother.
Yes, sir. Peace.
All right, my brother.
Peace.
Yes, bro. Yes, we're still on with Baba Hanif Shabazz of the Library of the City of Philadelphia, as well as all them DVDs.
Yeah, that's what they know me most by.
Yes, exactly. And definitely, when we come to the end of the show, we definitely want you to give all your information,
Yes,
where
sir.
people can contact you, where people can, support library, support all the other ventures that you're dealing with.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm glad to have you. I'm glad to have you on. I thought about you about 2 weeks ago, and I said, "Yeah, I got to get Baba Hanif on the show." A man who I have a lot of love and respect for. Who taught me a lot of things. Has helped in my growth and my development as a young man in this world. I still consider myself young at 49, but
I remember the day.
Definitely helped me immensely in my growth.
Yes, sir. We give thanks, brother.
Appreciate you.
That's what we supposed to do.
Another thing I wanted to ask you about. We got this election coming up in a couple of weeks. I wanted to see your outlook, your perspective on this election. How we as Black people, as African people, need to play this thing. Because I asked this same question last week to our guest, and I just want to see your thoughts, your feelings about it, and the aftermath of it. What should we be prepared for as far as the aftermath?
Yeah, give me 1 minute. I'm on the phone. Well, first let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
I'm surprised you didn't ask me this question.
Okay.
Do you vote? Do you vote?
No, I do not.
Why don't you vote?
I don't vote because of the fact that it does not benefit me to vote as an African. It has never been over 150 years beneficial for us to vote in this country. We have never received anything out of it. We have put ourselves in a position to be used like we were, a cheap prostitute being used by her pimp, and pimp by both parties. Every 4 years, thinking as though there's going to be a different outcome for us. And that's basically the definition of insanity. Continuing to think in the same way, through the same process, over and over and over again, and expecting a different result. And in a couple of weeks, our people will be going to the poll.
They going now, brother. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, but they're going now, and in large numbers
That's right.
to vote. To vote now, they're voting out a personality and not voting to change policy. So they're voting out a personality, but they're not voting to change policy.
So if you don't vote, how do you not change policy? In essence, what I'm asking you got to participate in order to have the impact that you're talking about. If you don't have if you don't participate, you don't have any impact. you can't even really ask the question.
Right.
Okay. And I'm saying that for a reason, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Hold on one second. Yeah, I know, son. I'm coming. Forgive me. I know. I'll be right in. So let me say it to you this way. All politics are local. An elder told me a long time ago. He said, "Death and politics, once you're born into the world, are the two most how do I want to say it? Are the two most important things that will always affect you while you're operating." Okay. And as a person like yourself who's in business and who has programming, it's important that you are able to have access to the halls of power. Now, I say that to say that there's no reason why you can't gain energy from the people by amassing the people, but you have to be able to amass them and then also at the same time be within the confines, the construct of the laws. Because just like everything else, once you get out of that construct, things start to take place and happen. Okay, so the first thing a politician wants to know, if you're trying to do something in their district or their area, is what's your political affiliation and what do you do? Now, I say all of that to say that, it's a tool. Mm-hmm. It's a tool that we have to be savvy at using. That's why we get used like a pimp uses his prostitutes. You know what I mean? Because they don't know how to utilize the tool. And the tool that I'm talking about is the engagement part. Top, should I say presidential elections? Of course, they don't necessarily have a direct, but they do have indirect impact. Mm-hmm. And in the course of that indirect impact that they have on us, because we reside in this construct called the United States of America, we can be impacted by them directly. Mm-hmm. So it's true, Democrat, Republican, same bird, just left side and right side. I mean, I agree with all of that, but see, you have to be wiser than the serpent, brother. Mm-hmm. You have to figure out, how do I manipulate that to be something that I can benefit from, and again, like I said, one of the first things they want to know is what your status is based on your political affiliation. And if you don't have one, then it's not that they reject you right away, but they can reject you very easily. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm not talking about, our ancestors died for that, or anything. That's not what I'm saying. Right. I'm saying America is a bastion of business, good and bad. Right. And it has impact all over the world. And you have to figure out how to matriculate and manipulate in it and with it in order to do the things that you want to do. Even to get earlier with this COVID situation, you can't really move because how you're impacted by the laws that this particular construct government has laid out. I don't care if you got papers that say, you're not, this jurisdiction. Niggas can't go, excuse me. You can't go nowhere. You can't get on a plane and you don't own one. You can't get on a boat big enough. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you have to manipulate in order to matriculate through it, and you can't do that if you are not taking part. Now, who to vote for? It's a business. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you're going to get more out of one than the other, because all of them have some sort of tie to something or somebody else. You know, and it's just like they always saying, the popular vote. Well, you know, it's the electoral college. You know what I mean? And the electoral college, even though they might, you know, a state might be leaning one way or another based on, you know, the popular vote, the individual who is in the electoral college can still walk in and change their mind. So it's their premise as to who they're going to vote for. Most of the time they don't, but they have that ability, which is something to keep in mind as well. So Biden, Harris, you know, Trump, you know, it's like, and people will, they'll look at this as a strange statement, but, and I have to preface it with a quote from Brother Shamari, who said, you know, you're voting for two old white men to be your benefactor, and neither one of them has your, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, your best interest in mind or at heart. You know what I mean? But the object is that you have to be able to say that you did X, Y, Z. See, we can't afford to leave any stones unturned in the fight for our freedom and salvation, our liberation. You know what I mean? And when we leave something like that on the table, which is a major part of it, you know, because again, like I said, I don't know nobody who look like us, particularly, who has that white skin privilege. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I personally have to interject this statement. I don't use the word white supremacy. Mm-hmm. They are not supreme about anything in any way. So it drives me crazy when I hear people say white supremacy. What is supreme about white folks? Nothing.
Right.
You know, other than they are good agitators, manipulators, and everything else that goes with, you know, being deceitful. You know, even those who are running around here with this Black Lives Matter thing, and you know, it tickles me, BLM all over the mouth, you know, on the mask and stuff like that. I'm saying, well, this stuff didn't just start. Mm-hmm. They've been killing us for a long time. You know what I mean? I can go and pull out things all day long where this same conversation was taking place 50, 60, 80, 100 years ago, 400 years ago. So, you know, come on, you're not that much of a Johnny come lately. You know, you've been taking advantage of it. Right. So that's kind of where I am with that, you know. I know, you know, it's a hard pill to swallow to say, vote. Why am I going to vote? Well, like I said, you have to be able to manipulate and matriculate through the system. And, you know, I don't know, like I said, nobody can just jump on a plane or fly out this country without, you know, having some sort of status that's recognized by this government. And you can't get into another country most of the time without the status of this government sanctioning what your movements are. Right. So politics and death, brother. Right.
I mean, the question I always ask is, you know, whenever we do talk, and especially, you know, when we see each other and we dialogue. The question is, that was actually given to me the other day. Where do we, as a people who are in this country, born and raised in this country, you know, I mean, and even people who have not been born and raised in this country, but are belong to the but are sons and daughters of Africa, are Black people here in America. Where do we go from? What do you think we need to do? I mean, I know we could probably be here all night talking about that, but what are some of the things?
For me, it's real simple, brothers. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. No, I want you to go ahead because, like, I mean,
see. So, separation really is the only answer.
Right.
You know, separation is different than segregation, and we have to understand that as well. You know, we talk about how, you know, we are these strong nationalist people who don't deal with the devil and, you know, the beast or this, whatever you want to say. But every time you flip your switch in your house for that electricity to come on, you turn that faucet on to wash dishes or to flush your toilet. You know what I mean? To turn on that pilot for your heater. You doing business with the beast. You doing business with the devil. You know what I mean? So again, like I said earlier, ain't no getting around it while you're here. But separation versus segregation gives you an opportunity to be able to do something for yourself. And separation really, it doesn't mean that you have to necessarily, how do I want to say it? You know, have, and yet you do want it, a land area, land mass for yourself. You know, in order for us to get that today, we got to go to war. It's got to be some bloodshed. It's got to be a lot of bloodshed. And it's not just bloodshed on our side. It's got to be bloodshed on the other side, more than our side. Because as Malcolm said, you know, the only way you talk to somebody who doesn't speak your language is you have to learn to speak their language. They speak the language of violence. You know what I mean? I'm not telling you to go out and shoot up the town. I'm just saying that that's the language that they understand. Tyranny. You know what I mean? Suppression. You know, all of those words that have impact to disturb your mental stability. You know, separation can be started real easily, where we just, like you were talking about earlier, you know, we just start to do things in group unity. You know, we learn how to pool our resources. I mean, it's the Muslim program that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught. Real simple. You know, and in the course of that, you know, you start to grow cells for your body politic of people.
Right.
Okay. It doesn't mean that you can't flip your switch and you're not going to do business with them, but you can start to wean yourself off of it. You know, so technology actually helps with a lot of that today. You know what I mean? Right. And you take, for instance, you ever watch the movie Buck and the Preacher?
Yes,
Sidney Poitier?
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You know, that was really about how Africans who were enslaved, as they took part in so-called their freedom, they started their own towns, their own cities. You know what I mean? So you have something that's popped up on the screen in the last few weeks of 19 families down in Georgia.
Yeah.
Who brought all of that. I mean, brother, once you start to do that, and I used to talk about this when I was on South Street, when I had Hanif's on South. South Street is a district in a district. Okay, and this again goes back to politics. You have to we have to somewhere start to deal with civics, social studies, civic. We have to, get back to that. Okay. So we can understand how the structure works. We don't know how the structure works. We just work within the structure, and the structure works on us.
Right.
So South Street is a district. And then you can say, and look at that, and look at Temple University, University of Penn. These are now districts. So once you have a district and you incorporate your district, then you have the right to defend the land and property in your district. So
Right.
Temple has a police force, just like the police force you see on South Street, like the police force that University of Penn has, Drexel, all of these major district organizations have incorporated to the degree where they control property and land, but mostly land which has their properties on it, so they have the right to defend it.
Right.
This is what one of the secrets of land banking is. You have the right to put it together contiguously or not, but in geographical areas, and then you have the right to defend it. Start your own police force. So this is what this family down there in Georgia has the opportunity to do. I don't know how well versed they are on it, but it's the same way that in Buck and the Preacher, when Sidney Poitier gave them that map to show them what the amount of land that they had was. They at that particular time were able to incorporate that large area of land and then defend it. You know what I mean? So separation also says that you have the ability to do for yourself the things that are necessary in order for you to survive. Okay, so it's not just only the right of defending it; it's the right to, grow your own food. To produce your own factories, manufacturing companies. Which is something that we don't do much at all at this particular time. And I jump back to 1990s, like 94, 95, 96. There was as a retailer, there was a sister in DC. She's still with us. She developed something called the Black Buyers and Manufacturers Conference, in which all of the manufacturers of black products who were black themselves, African, black, however you want to term it, would come together. And we as retailers, we would go there twice a year and we would do all of our purchasing, okay, for our shops, which meant that the manufacturers had orders to fill and we had product coming in. That's separation. That's not segregation. That was separation. We decided we wanted to separate and do our own thing. You know what I mean? So I say that segregation means that you still rely on the other guy. It's just like one of the conversations is that we're the, when we look at the amount of money that we as black people take in, we're the 5th largest country. And I'm just, kind of like paraphrasing, of course, for the conversation. But see, where you getting the money from? It's like a black bank. Is there a black bank, or is there a bank that has black people who run it? Because you still enter into their system. Amos Wilson said that everything is a socially agreed upon ideal. So we socially agree that we are going to enter their system, going to have black people run it, and it's going to be a black bank. But it's not a black bank because it's not our money. You follow what I'm saying? And as the 5th largest, whatever we want to talk about, government or whatever, country or whatever, based on the trillions of dollars that we take, we get the trillions of dollars through doing business and being most of all tools and fools for the system, for the beast. Neely Fuller talks about it. He says that they can let you make a truckload of money today that's green, and you come to buy a house tomorrow and they can switch it up and tell you, well, the truckload of money, it's something we have to pay attention to right now, because it's a part of the economic ploy with this whole cashless thing, and the mints not having money, coins and stuff like that, and exact change and card change. Dr. York talked about it a long time ago, cashless society, the card. So Neely Fuller said, you come there tomorrow, he said, well, that truckload of money needs to be red today, but you don't have no red money, you only got green money, so there ain't nothing we could do for you. You follow me?
Right.
So we have to be keen on it. When we call something black owned and black operated, is it, or is it within the system and it has our face on it? Mm-hmm. Now, I also say that there are things that we can't. There are things that we can get from that situation, but it's only based on the limits of which that individual is willing to go. And most of us, when we're in situations like that, we talk about we and us, but the we and us aren't us, or we. You know what I mean? It's just, it's an interesting little dichotomy, brother. So that's what I have to say about that.
Well, Baba, do you want to share any final thoughts before we move to close? Anything that you want to discuss? And, definitely before you leave us this evening, please leave your information for all of our viewers and all of our listeners here on the Sonic and Ngoma, how they can get in touch with you and how they can support, the library, as well as all them videos, all them DVDs. So yeah.
First and foremost, brother, I like to start by thanking you and the crew for inviting me, and my apologies on being a little long-winded and getting on the line. I was doing my daddy thing with my son, so that's the first thing. But I have enjoyed myself. If anything that I have said has offended, it's not much I could say about that, but I do not say anything to be personal against anybody. I just speak in general, and hopefully somebody can find a seed in this conversation that we just had. And as far as the library is concerned, again, we're at 5939 Lansdowne Avenue in West Philly. We're there from 12 to 6. Excuse me, 12 to 6, Monday through Friday. Saturday, we're there from 12 to 4. Our phone number is 267-257-3270. Our email address is thelibrary756@gmail.com. Again, thelibrary756@gmail.com. And we, as far as support is concerned, we ask people, if you don't do anything, just stop by and say that you heard about us, and if there's something that you see, of course, or there's something that you're looking for, please reach out and ask us. Again, you can also reach us through our parent email, which is Apex EduSys, which is similar to Apex Educational Systems, APEX EDUSYS@AOL.com. And also all dem, that's the African tongue, the DEM, DVDs alldemdvds.com. That's our website. You can always visit that and see. But most of all, just the last thing that I would like to imply to our community, And through this wonderful program that y'all set up here, brother, is first keep talking, keep communicating, but most of all, get involved.
Right.
Do something. Do something. You know what I mean? As Dr. Barashango said, particularly in tough economic times, he said, if you don't do nothing as much as sell apples on the street corner, do something for yourself.
Right.
And I just leave it there. It's with love and appreciation that, we're here together tonight, and I thank you for it.
Thank you, Baba. I mean, like I said, I really enjoyed you this evening. Like I said, sorry about the technical difficulties trying to get you on here.
It's cool, brother.
Sometimes our engineer with the station that he has with Due to Knowledge Radio, he may be doing 2 programs at the same time. So,
well, brother, just real quick, so that we don't leave a lot of weight in any particular area, it's what the Most High has ordained for all of this, brother. We just have to recognize that what was supposed to be is, and what is what's going on. So I would like to, state it from that perspective. You know what I mean? And I also like to ask you to invite me back, which I know you will. But invite me back and let's take a moment and have some other things that we can outline and really speak to, and I can really bring some things out of the library that I think would be very, very influential in the course of this conversation.
Yes, we definitely plan to have you back, Baba, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Like I said, it's just been great having you. Give my love to the family. Peace, be well. We'll definitely talk very, very soon. And, we will definitely, we'll definitely communicate very, very soon, Bob.
Yes, sir. I look forward to it. And as one of my favorite programs, the first grader, the Mau would say, Uhuru. Uhuru, freedom, and liberation. Yes, sir.
Uhuru. Black power. All right.
Power. Yes, sir.
All right.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Yeah. And with that, we will move towards close for another edition of the Sonic and Ngoma. Definitely would like to thank our guests once again, Baba Hanif Shabazz of the library and all them DVDs. Definitely, please, if you're in the Philadelphia area, if you're in the Delaware Valley area, please support him. 5939 Lansdowne Avenue. Please go out and support the library, support all them DVDs. It's a definitely a community resource that is needed with all of the historical documentation and references and books, DVDs, lectures, that are so vital in our mental, emotional, spiritual growth and development. So definitely support him as soon as you can. Once again, my name is Baba Oláyínká, and this has been another edition of the Sonic and Ngoma with our host, Brother Farugh and Brother Khamuo. If you'd like to get in touch with us, the African Independence Day Organizing Committee, of course, you can see it at the bottom of your ticker. You can get in contact with us at our official webpage, which is AfricanIndependenceDay.org, African spelled AFRAKAN, independenceday.org. You can also get in touch with us on our Gmail, AfricanIndependenceDay@gmail.com. African also spelled the same way, AFRAKAN, as well as you can give us a call on our official hotline, our official number being 267-521-1544. Once again, that's 267-521-1544, as well as you can hit us up on social media. On Facebook, you can hit us up at the 16th annual African Independence Day Maat Celebration 2020. And you can also look us up on Instagram at African_Independence Day. Once again, that's African_Independence Day. So definitely we want you all to visit our official webpage, AfricanIndependenceDay.org, and support our virtual marketplace for vendors who are have their businesses on our marketplace. This is very tough times, difficult times dealing with this COVID pandemic. And this is the way for them to be able to continue to sell their goods online. Not that many events going on this year. So this is their livelihood. And so we're asking you to support AfricanIndependenceDay.org, support our virtual African marketplace, as well as all the other great content on AfricanIndependenceDay.org. So with that, once again, I am Brother Oláyínká, for Brother Khamuo Heru, for Brother Farugh Maat. We'll see you next week at 7 p.m. for another edition of the Sonic and Ngoma. Abibifahoodie, Abibitumi, Ukusu, Kujiti Wala, peace and Black power.
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them that in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? No more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a. Let's get back to the gritty.
And that motive is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.